Welcome back to another Story Time, where I tell my favorite stories from my 50 years here on the planet. You know, a lot of the things that I covered dealt with death and destruction, and some of them were just incredibly sad. I remember on the weekends a lot of times, because I was a chief photographer, I would have to carry home the scanners, and I would listen to the scanners, and I would have my two-way radio. And the people, either the desk would call me, or else I would hear on the scanner about some bad car wreck. And, you know, of course, one of them things in the news is if it bleeds, it leads. So if there's a bad car wreck, then, you know, you have to go and cover it. So it was about 3 o'clock in the morning, and I got paged that there was a bad car wreck from the guys at the desk that, you know, back in the station that had heard this. So I had to get up and try to drive and find this thing. Well, you know, they'd given me kind of what they call the 1020, the location. So I knew what the 1020 was. And so I was driving over there to go and find this car where there had been this wreck. And, you know, I was obviously a lot younger than I am now. In fact, we had a baby at home. Little Ashley was only about 3 months old. And, you know, so getting up and leaving your house, the little baby, of course, that's always kind of disconcerting. And my wife was always uptight about it because she knew I was going a lot of times in a dangerous situations all by myself. And so she didn't like that, but she knew that was part of my job, so she, you know, tolerated it. So anyway, I left the house and I went over there and I drove all around this county trying to find this car wreck, and I finally found it. And it was extremely foggy, so it was hard to see, and the roads are kind of wet. Even today, when the weather is inclement, man, I get in a real, you know, conservative driving mode because I've just seen so many wrecks with fatalities. And so I came around this curve, and sure enough, here was this wreck where this car had flipped. It was upside down on the top. And I'd asked them, well, what had happened, you know, and was anybody hurt? And they said, yeah, they had one of the children had died, the baby had died. And I'm like, oh man, are you kidding me? So I went over there, and what had happened is the baby had been crying or whatever is what the guy had said. The father wasn't hurt at all, but he decided that he was going to hold the baby in his lap. So he was holding the baby in his lap, and he was driving. He lost control of the car. As the car flipped, the baby went out the window and was killed. The car had actually rolled over, bounced on top of this baby, and so, you know, there was just brain matter all over the ground, and you know, there was this little body that was covered up by a sheet that the cops had come over and covered up. And oh man, just one of the saddest things ever. And I remember I was shooting all this video and trying to cover it like you have to. I mean, that's what you do, you know, and kind of choking back tears because I was just thinking, you know, this is just like my baby back home, you know. So again, it was a very sad night in my life. And after you've seen things like this over and over and over and over again, can't tell you how many dead bodies and burned things and, you know, that I've seen. Again, it gives you this whole idea of how fragile life is. And seize the day, man. You gotta seize the day because you never know when this might be your last day. And even today, man, when I get in my car and I head towards Atlanta to start doing work with the things, every day I get in that car, man, I pray the Lord to, you know, give me a safe trip and, you know, talk about, and quote Psalms 139, which, you know, he's protecting me and he's proceeding and following me, and he's traveling with me and putting a shield of protection around me because, man, you just never know. So live with vigor, live with passion, because you never know what could happen. And even if you're a little baby, you don't have any guarantee that you're going to live forever, man. Sad things, but true. And that was another Story Time.